Hey guys, Trainer DC here, coming at you with another video. I just finished playing Pokémon Legends Z-A and wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the game as a whole. As per usual with these types of videos, spoilers ahead, you have been warned. Going into Pokémon Legends Z-A, I would argue that it's one of the more highly anticipated Pokémon games in quite some time, for two facts. One, it's taking place in Kalos. Obviously, Kalos X and Y never got a Pokémon Z, they never got that definitive edition game, so getting Pokémon Legends Z-A 12 years after the original release of X and Y is something that fans have been wanting for a long time. They've been wanting to revisit Kalos to see what is up with Zygarde. And two, the other fact of the game that people are highly anticipating or looking forward to is that for the first time ever within Pokemon, we have a new battle system. There are no more turn-based battles. This time it is real-time combat. And so I think for those two facts alone, this game was highly anticipated. So does it live up to the hype that people built up for it? So first and foremost, let's just touch on the gameplay overall and how this game was structured as a whole. So obviously the big thing going into this game, as I touched on before, is that we have a brand new combat system for the first time. Instead of our traditional turn-based battles we're used to with every Pokemon game, this time around we have real-time action in a Pokemon game. It's kind of like an action RPG almost. It reminds me of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot in a way. Nevertheless, this new battle system took a little bit of getting used to for me. At first I didn't love it, but as I progressed further and further into the game, I actually fell in love with it. Don't get me wrong, I love turn-based combat, I love the traditional Pokemon formula, but this was a breath of fresh air for the franchise that really kind of feels like, the way I would describe it honestly is, I think regular Pokemon is more relaxing and fun to do when you're just battling with friends and whatnot, not competitively speaking. I feel like Legends Z-A's combat system is more of an adrenaline rush. It's more action-packed. You're on your toes. Some of the battles I felt like, oh man, I gotta get this move off really quickly before I die, before they hit off their move, and all of that was just so much fun. It just is a breath of fresh air for this franchise. This game is clearly more battle focused than any Pokemon game has been over the past half decade or so. Legends Arceus was very much so focused on catching Pokemon and completing the first Pokedex. There weren't even really trainer battles in the game all that much outside of the handful of trainers we actually got to fight in that game. That if you go to Scarlet and Violet, all of the trainer battles were optional outside of the gym leaders and whatnot, but all of the, route trainers you didn't have to face. It was again much more focused on the exploration and catching Pokemon part of the franchise. Legends Z-A does the opposite of that. Legends Z-A is very much so focused on battling. It is a battling first Pokemon game, and really I felt like this is the one big criticism I have for Legends Z-A. I really felt like at times catching Pokemon felt more tedious than fun. So the thing about Pokemon Legends Z-A is in many ways it felt like a step backwards in terms of the exploration and catching Pokemon part of the franchise. We came off of Legends Arceus, which had these 5 different zones that were open world. We come off of Scarlet and Violet, which is completely open world. And while yes, Legends Z-A is a completely open world map, it is self-contained within Lumio City, meaning that in order to be home to wild Pokemon in this game, they created what are called wild zones. There's 20 of them throughout the game, and they are rather small areas outside of Wild Zone 20 having the most Pokemon available. But when you go to these wild zones, each one outside of 20 again, each one of them has about 6 Pokemon in it, and one of which is tied to the nighttime, and one of which is usually a rare spawn. Quite frankly, I felt like this was very confined and restricting, and it felt like a step backwards in terms of the open nature and open fields we've come off of with both Legends Arceus and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I'm okay with it for now because within the context of this game, it makes sense, right? This game is taking place within a city. It's something brand new that Pokemon has never done before, so I'm okay with it, but I don't want to see them continue this going forward where we have these more restricting, confined areas to capture Pokemon, and I don't think this is something we're going to see all that often, if ever again, within the franchise. The other thing I want to say about the catching system, which I really did not like, it felt like to me Pokemon were a lot harder to catch in this game, and again felt more tedious than fun at times. I am not kidding you when I say there's only one spawn to my knowledge for Skarmory within one of the wild zones of the game. It literally took me about 15 times to capture Skarmory. Every time I one-hit KO'd it, then I throw my Pokeball and it would break free. I threw an Ultra Ball at it every time. Every single time it would break free. On the flip side of that, when I captured Yveltal, I captured it on the first try. When I captured Xerneas, I captured it on the second try. To me, it just felt like some of the Pokemon capturing them just, again, more tedious than fun. It took me about 5 tries to get Fennekin. Some of the Pokemon are rarer spawns earlier in the game, like Audino, for example, and Audino was a rare spawn, and when it would appear, you basically had like less than 5 seconds to capture it, otherwise it would run away. Same thing with Drampa. Drampa is available very late in the game, and Drampa is a rare spawn, and I had to visit the wild area that Drampa was in about 10 times before I was able to capture one. My first 2 attempts at trying to capture it failed. It broke out of the Pokeball, and that was that. I feel like that aspect of this game I really don't like because it's not fun. It's tedious. As of the recording of this video, I still do not have a Beldum. I have gone to Lysander Labs about 7 times to capture a Beldum, and every single time the 2 Beldum that spawn, sometimes it's a Matang alongside the 1 Beldum, they've broken out of the Pokeball, and I have not been able to catch them. Again, that's more tedious than fun. It shouldn't be that hard for me to get a Beldum. It's a Beldum. I would understand if I had that much trouble with Xerneas or Yveltal, but those were both rather easy for me to catch, whereas a Beldum is ridiculously hard for me to catch alongside a Skarmory. Doesn't make sense. As for the rest of the game, I thought that the Z-A Royale itself was the highlight of it, as I mentioned before, and I think the way they structured that within the confines of the story was great. It made sense, right? You would have to basically have these gym leader-esque battles to promote to the next rank. I think that all worked out rather well in this game. The one thing I didn't love about the story is the rogue mega evolution raids or boss fights that you had to do. They just felt rather repetitive, and I think that the problem is the way they structured it within the story is that you had to do 3 at a time. So basically you would get 3, they'd say do these 3 in order to progress the story further. You would do those 3, then you would do the Z-A Royale, then it would get back to another 3 rogue mega evolutions with a new character side plot thrown in there between those 2 different story beats. But yeah, that's the one part of the story I really did not like, was fighting these rogue mega evolutions. And also too, I have to say, I know Pokemon is typically very handholdy in the beginning of the game with a tutorial section. We need to cut that out, because this was like a 2-3 hour tutorial section and it was driving me insane. Every Pokemon game is like this. It's not something new to Legends Z-A, but we need to stop that. With Gen 10, make it a half hour to an hour at most tutorial. Do not have us have this 2-3 hour tutorial that you're teaching me how to catch a Pokemon. You're teaching me how to throw a Pokeball or, you know, heal my Pokemon. Like, I know how to play Pokemon. If anything, I understand that's there for kids who are new to the franchise or just new players in general. Have a toggle in the beginning of the game saying, are you familiar with the world of Pokemon? Yes or no. If you say yes, you skip the tutorial. If you say no, they give you the tutorial. That needs to be an option going forward in this franchise. But otherwise, this game was an absolute treat. It was an absolute delight. I absolutely loved everything about it, minus the few things I just mentioned before. The only one weird thing I will say about this game is I thought that they handled a lot of the returning characters really well. Like Lysander was awesome. AZ was awesome. Emma, Mabel, and Grisham were all cool as well. They were all returning characters from the original X and Y. The one thing that I found rather weird about this game is those were the only returning characters from X and Y. Otherwise, all of the major characters in this game were brand new characters to the world of Pokemon, which is fine for them to do, but I find it rather weird in this context, given that this is a game taking place 5 years after the original X and Y. What happened to all of the characters from the original X and Y? Like, where is Clement? He was the Prism Tower gym leader. Prism Tower is the whole central hub basically for this game. That's the main climax, right? Is AZ's Floette goes into it and basically turns into a monster, and he's nowhere to be found. I would assume that's no longer a gym. Where did he go? Did he flee Kalos with Bonnie? What happened to him? Where are all the gym leaders from Kalos? Wouldn't they show up when this big threat is happening over Lumio City? No, instead we have all these random new characters that live in Lumio City saving the day alongside us, the player character. That's the only other thing I found weird about this game, is we have all these pre-established characters from X and Y and only like 5 or 6 of them actually return. Where's Professor Sycamore? What happened to him in this game? He's mentioned, there's pictures of him in the game, but he's not in the game himself. Supposedly us, the player character, are related to him, at least that's what the leak said, but I have yet to see dialogue indicating that. So I don't know what's up there, but that's neither here nor there. Overall though, I absolutely loved Pokemon Legends Z-A. It's definitely a different take on what a Legends game could be, given that Legends Arceus was set all the way back in the past, and apparently I haven't covered this yet on the channel, but initially Legends 2, Legends Z-A, was supposed to be a Legends Johto game taking place again in the past, and apparently the next Legends game is going to be taking place in Galar 1,000 years in the past. So this is definitely a different take on what the Legends series could bring going forward, and I really think this game is a huge turning point within the history of this franchise, because I think that going forward we're going to start to see a lot more experimental titles from the Pokemon Company and a lot more unexpected things from them, because who was expecting Pokemon Legends Z-A to get announced on February 27th of the year 2024 before. Everyone was expecting black and white remakes or Johto remakes once again, but no, we're going back to Kalos in Pokémon Legends Z-A, taking place 5 years after the original X and Y, serving as sequels to those games, given that we never got a Pokémon Z all the way back in the mid-2010s. Anyways, let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. What did you guys think about Pokémon Legends Z-A? Did you love the game? Did you hate it? Let me know down below. Do you agree with my criticisms of it, with the capturing of wild Pokemon really being more tedious than fun, and with the highlight of this game being the ZA Royale? Or do you disagree with me, and did you like a different aspect of it? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from Trainer DC. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.